Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a fabulous Monday and you're looking forward to a yummy, yummy Thanksgiving lunch or dinner here in a few days. I know I am. So you have been working on writing your narratives, or not writing them, but coming up with your ideas, your prompts, your main characters, and all that good stuff. Yesterday, or on Friday with Miss Pergram, you started to think about your setting, your plot, the beginning, middle, and end. Today, you're really going to be breaking the story down into the different parts of plot. So your exposition, rising action, and all that good stuff. So what I want you to do is head over to your Google Classroom and click on your today's writing assignment, which is your story layout. So go ahead and click on that. And once you do, it's going to look really similar to this. We're going to fill this out, and I'm going to go over how I would fill it out with my story. So as Ms. Pergram told you yesterday, our story is based around the fact that I want $1 million, and what am I going to do with this $1 million? How is it going to change my life? And all that good stuff. So when I think of my main characters for my story, I know that my main characters are going to be myself. Okay, I am writing the story. I'm putting myself there. I don't have to have my name there because it's always going to say the word I. I'm going to be writing it in first person point of view. That's my main character. For my setting is when it takes place. It's going to be taking place in the present. It's right now. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's right now. So it's the present. Where my story takes place is also a big part of my setting. And my where is it happens at my house. It happens at a car lot. My story also takes place at a restaurant. I have 3 different settings. You might have just one setting, but you could have up to 5 settings. Your stories are all different depending on your prompt. The next part is a biggie. So it's our chapter 1. We're going to have 5 chapters. So our chapter 1 is going to be our exposition. This is where you're going to introduce the main character, and you're going to be setting up putting up this setting. So what I'm going to do in this story is where I'm going to introduce myself as the main character. Okay, and I'm going to talk about how I won the lottery. I'm also going to talk about what I'm going to do with the money. But just remember, the exposition is where you're introducing the main characters and you're telling the audience your setting. Okay. Next is, forgot to highlight that part. Next is our chapter 2, which is going to be our rising action. These are going to be the events that lead to the big conflict of the story. And a reminder, this is only our brainstorm. It is not going to be every single detail that's in our story. It's just helping me get a good idea of how the story is going to lay out. That's why it's called a story layout. So our rising action, our 4th grade rising action, is that I go and buy my new car, and I'm super excited because I have won $1 million. But then my friends convince me to throw this big party because I have all this money. So of course I'm going to throw the party, right? That leads me now to my conflict. So our conflict is the problem of the story. So I have to think, how is this now going to be a problem? How do I want this, my friends convincing me to throw a party? How is this going to be a problem? Well, I know what the problem is. Once I had the party, and that's all great and dandy, and a lot of people came, even people who I wasn't even close friends with, they came. They kind of took advantage of the fact that I was throwing this party. And I get the bill, and it was way too much. Even for a millionaire, it was a lot of zeros. So that's my problem. Your problem, of course, might be different. Hopefully it's different. It's a different prompt. Your next chapter, or it's going to be also chapter 3, and it's part of your conflict. And that's the climax. The climax is the most exciting part of your story, the most exciting part of the conflict. And that's when that's part of my conflict, is when I get the bill and it's too much money even for a millionaire. Okay? So again, that's part of the climax, is the most exciting part of the conflict. So this kind of all ties in together, all chapter 3. Your next chapter is going to be your falling action. So those are the events that are leading down to the resolution or the solution to the story. So my falling action is that that I'm going to discuss how all these friends started to get mad at me because I wasn't throwing big elaborate parties and I wasn't paying for their dinners. And these so-called friends that weren't really being good friends were taking advantage of me. And that made me really sad. So in the falling action, I'm going to talk about how these people weren't really good friends. I didn't really want to hang out with them anymore. And then last but not least is our resolution. The resolution is the solution to the story. This is a good place where you can talk about your theme or your message of the story. So my solution is that I get a call and I'm expecting it to be one of those not so good friends. And it turns out to be my best friend. And she wants to hang out with me and take me to dinner. And that makes me really excited. And then I'm also in this chapter going to talk about how the theme of the story is money comes and goes, but real friends are what matters most. So today is a big day. You're going to really need to think about how your story is going to lay out. So think about what each of these terms mean of plot. Remember, our exposition, our first chapter, is going to be introducing the main character. Chapter 2 is going to be your rising action, which is going to be your events that lead up to the conflict. Your conflict and your climax go together. So it's going to be your problem of your story. Climax is just your most exciting part of the problem. Your falling action are your events that after the conflict that lead to the resolution. And then your resolution is your, how you wrap it all up, your solution to your story. And then also that wraps in your theme of your narrative. Now, I know that was kind of a long video, but since you've reached the end, if at the end of this activity and you completely finish and you've done your entire layout and it looks great, before you submit, I want you to write, "Hey, Mr. Gatliff, exclamation point." That's going to prove to your teacher that you watched the whole video, and they're going to give you 5 dojo points for making sure that you listen to the whole video. Alrighty, have a good afternoon, guys. See you later. Good luck.